I wanted a .com. It was like, we needed that .com. We're mad at you, Broadcom. We're mad at you, VMware. You should not have done this. Luck is an acronym for me. It's laboring under correct knowledge.
Hey, Channel Insiders. I'm your host, Katie Bavoso, and welcome to Channel Insider Partner POV. My guest today is James Rocker, CEO of Long Island, New York-based managed service provider, Nerds That Care. In 2025, James and his MSP will celebrate 20 years in business. He explains how the company got its name with a very deliberate approach to branding and marketing. We also dig into the sudden rise of DeepSeek AI, and James shares his thoughts on some of the changes that distribution giant Ingram Micro is implementing in 2025. James, welcome. It's great to see you.
Thank you, Katie. Great seeing you as well. Thanks for having me on today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being here. And before I go any further, I need to congratulate you because 2025 is your 20th anniversary of Nerds That Care being in business. So congratulations. How's that feel?
It's like a dream. It's so surreal. Thank you for mentioning that. You obviously did your research here, and I can't believe it. 20 years is a monumental accomplishment for us and everyone that's been on this journey since the beginning. So yeah, we're very excited about this wonderful year that we're about to have.
That's so cool. Does it feel like 20 years for you, or does it feel like 5 minutes?
It's funny, right? I was thinking about that the other day, and it's a good mix of feelings and emotions, right? And one breath of me feels like I've been doing it forever, but 20 years doesn't really feel like the reality. So it does feel like we've only been doing this for a few years, and we'll get into some of that, right? The trajectory of the company and kind of the timeline and where everything started to where we are today. So it's a very exciting year for us here at Nerds That Care.
So, a little bit of background about you. Speaking of doing my research, you're a managed service provider based in Long Island, New York. And you've been in business, as I said, for 20 years. So, a ton of experience right there. But let's talk about your customers, first of all, and really get to know Nerds That Care. So, you serve small to medium sized businesses typically. So, talk to me about the verticals that your customers typically touch. And is there anything you typically specialize in as far as vertical and customer goes?
Yeah, great question. When we first started out, it was really all about who needed our help and where we felt people were and companies were lacking with the technology support that they deserved. Right. And it's a little bit of where the name comes in, of course, just this caring aspect of who we are and what we deliver to all our clients. We really play really nice in the automotive space, in the legal and financial spaces. So a lot of clients that require compliance style services, right? Which then you can understand that world a little bit touches on a lot of cybersecurity, a lot of regulations. So we really look for clients that, number one, have really a desire to have technology help their business move forward. We're not some of these nerds that are just sitting behind a console all day waiting for you to call us to fix your problems. We're here to support your business and your goals, right? And on what you want to achieve for your company. And I think that's what resonates when we tell our story with the clients that we do have. They hear that and they say, okay, this is the team and the partnership that we want to have that's going to help move our business forward. So yeah, we love a couple other verticals like some nonprofits, as well as specialized service-based businesses. But we have that sweet spot, and we really perform and have a really high standard of excellence for who we're serving and all of our solutions and services.
I love to hear that. And you mentioned compliance, which is to me a big topic that I'm often talking about in front of and behind the scenes a lot these days. And you also talked about your customers being involved in businesses like legal, automotive, obviously businesses that have a form of compliance they have to adhere to. But have you had trouble getting people to understand that compliance and cybersecurity have to go hand in hand? What does that evolving conversation look like for you?
Yeah, it's a mixed bag, right? So you have some clients that are highly educated, sort of knowing what they need to do to accomplish, right, said goals to meet certain requirements. But yeah, it's a challenge. People are having a hard time just understanding tech in general, right? And now you have all these new things like cloud and cybersecurity. And of course, now with the boom of AI, right, artificial intelligence, you're seeing just people more and more confused. So, to answer your question, it's a bit of a mixed bag, but they're starting to get it, and we really put it in a place where it's easy to understand, right? And we really simplify it for the client to make sure that they understand what they're getting. I've seen a lot of clients or prospects, right, that become clients that maybe have been taken advantage of because they have to abide by certain compliances, right? And then they get oversold. They're oversold solutions. Some might say, well, the protection is there for a reason. I always kind of say, like, if a hospital, right, if a healthcare organization has all these things they need to adhere to, and those are standards to keep your business safe, why is everybody not participating in those solutions, right? That you have the framework. So why is the rest of the world not adopting that framework? Is something that we really try to allow clients to understand, even when they don't have compliance to worry about from a regulation standpoint. But when you boil it down, all of those methodologies, all of those solutions, all of those tactics and configurations, and all those smart nerds that you need to set all that stuff up, right? Why would you not just be doing that for whatever your business is today anyway, right? So, it's a difficult conversation, and we feel like that we're navigating it very well for our clients and helping them understand this, giant, you know, tech mess that we have going on out there, that's being sold to everybody.
That's such a great point because when you think about the IT environment of each of your individual clients, I'm sure they look at it and they kind of think about it as like the closet. Everything about the IT is behind that door, and we just trust that it's being taken care of. And if you open it, it feels like a wave of so many different technologies and words and worries that you have to think about. So it's great to know that you're moving with that educational piece and letting them know here's how we're going to help you understand and feel supported getting through that mess. You've mentioned the word nerds a couple of times, which I love the name Nerds That Care. I've been such a fan of it for a long time. I love the logo behind you. It all sticks out in my mind so well. So from a marketing standpoint, bravo, because obviously you knew what you were doing. Can you talk to me about the inspiration for the name? Because I know you also come from a technical background yourself. This has been your passion since you were in college. Talk to me about the evolution of Nerds That Care and where the name came from.
Yeah. So, early on in my career, before I started the business, I had many jobs of basically being an engineer. So I'm an engineer by trade, cybersecurity, kind of homegrown and taught. I had a couple security positions early on, which was kind of unheard of. So when I tell people my story, I kind of learned a little bit backwards. I learned cybersecurity and hacking and social engineering and those kinds of things that you hear under the cybersecurity umbrella before I even knew how to put a computer together.
Mhm.
And usually it's the opposite, right? So early on these jobs that I had and early on in my career, I realized that the people that I was working with and the companies that I was working for, they really only had a mission, and it was really about themselves. And that bothered me. I was all about the clients that we worked with. I was all about making their environments better. I wasn't a salesperson. I was just an engineer trying to just make environments and businesses better. And I realized that it wasn't the goal of many that I worked for and I met, and that really it bothered me. It gave me the drive to go out on my own and say to myself, like many small business entrepreneurs say to themselves, is there's a better way and I can do it a better way. That was the jump that I took to quitting my job and starting the company. But kind of fast forward to what your question is how did we come up with this name? And the company wasn't always Nerds That Care. We had a different name early on in our career. And I think I tell the story when Geek Squad at Best Buy was starting to become a really popular company, and they started taking over at least our area. All of a sudden, you saw all the Geek Squad trucks driving around. You saw the vans, and I said, "Man, like it's a okay name. Like I like the name, but hey, the world liked it because hey, all this money went into that company, and um, frankly, they probably weren't the best at the solutions and services that they were providing, but here's America and the world buying from them. And so I kind of started with the word geek and I started playing around with some names. What our problem was early on was we did not own the .com of what our company name was. And everybody, clients included, prospects trying to find us, they would end up at the wrong site. It was an IT company in Chicago. And it drove me crazy that I did not have the .com at the time. So to put it in perspective, this was probably around 2013, 2014 timeframe. So searching for .coms ultimately, because I that was really my goal, is I wanted a .com. It was like we needed that .com. I started just playing around with nerds, the name nerd, and I just started to think about, why are we in business, right? What's our passion? What are we here to do? Well, we're here to drive technology solutions that help businesses move their business forward, but we have to do it in a caring way. And I remember a client at the time, wow, you're so patient. You took the time to spend the time with us, to listen, and provided a great solution. And then, even after you provided a great solution, you made sure that it was working well and up to the standards that we went in there to provide for them. They said, wow, you really care. And something resonated with me on that. And I went back home and I started my .com searching again, and I couldn't believe it. Nerds That Care was available, and I'm not an English or a grammar expert or major, so I said, "Is that even like proper grammar? Right? Is that like proper English here? Nerds That Care? Should it be Nerds Who Care?" And I bought both, so thank God they were both available. Fast forward to the sales table years and years after, and still to this day, we do hear from marketing experts, from people that maybe study psychology and some other things that they're above my pay grade, Katie, right? That's not the world that I'm in. But right, we're onto something. We have something here. We have a wonderful brand. The name resonates with people when we walk into that sales table. The psychological work is sort of done for us. They know who we are. We're nerds, and they're hopeful that we care, right? So it's all in the name. And a smart marketing person once told me, no one really knows how good your product is, right? They only know how good your marketing is until they actually buy your product, right? Or use your solution. So marketing and branding is everything, I think, for any business out there. And I think if you feel that you don't have a strong brand, this is the time to do it. This is the time to reinvent yourself. This is the time to um, build your version of your passion and whatever it is that you're in business to do. Nerds That Care, here we are. We're here to help. We're here to care about your technology, and we have really amazing people here that drive this entire business to where we want to go.
Truly such a like chef's kiss masterclass in marketing a brand there from the beginning. After 20 years as an MSP and you build up that brand, you come up with that catchy name, you're somebody who's passionate about what you do. How do you stand out as an MSP in this crowded space? And is it possibly something that you can do today? Do you think if you did the same thing today and started from zero today, that you would be able to get to the point where you are now? I know that's kind of a bulky question, but break that down for me.
It's an awesome question. I've never really thought about that, how you asked it. But I'll say this: I think the answer is yes. Have you ever heard, like, if you divide the wealth amongst the world, it'll take X amount of years to just go back to what it is today, right? That's kind of what I believe about people in general, including myself. So of course I would be where I am, right? It's destiny. It's meant to be. I believe a lot of that. Maybe it's a little bit of luck, right? But I don't really believe in luck. Luck is an acronym for me. It's laboring under correct knowledge. So if
Ooh.
you have the knowledge, if you have the drive, if you have the passion for what you want to do, everything else should fall into place, right? So you can't be disingenuous about what you're doing. It can't feel made up. What sets us apart, I think it's a bit of who we are. It's a bit of our personalities. Yes, it's a lot of brain power, but when you boil down an MSP versus another MSP, they're a lot in the same. So we are trying to still capture what our uniques are. What makes us unique? What's that differentiator? Some people might say it's our brand and the events that we do and the engagement that we create. None of those things or have anything to do with technology, right? So we look at these other businesses out there, businesses like Ingram Micro, right? That we participate in a lot of these events. What an amazing partnership we have with them, by the way. But we kind of follow the leader a little bit. What are they doing? What did they do that's so successful? Early on in my career, I learned about the McDonald's story, right? And the conversation goes like this: how can you build $1 million business where you have 18, 19, 20-year olds running the business? Right? If you walk into a McDonald's, maybe now it's all robots and kiosks, but okay, here we are, right? But it's young kids. It's young kids running in a very successful business. Why? Because there's a system in place. There's a whole educational arm. There's a whole system that goes with it, right? And that's a bit of what we're doing here. So if we systematize everything that we're doing, now we have automation and all these exciting things to make us more efficient. So, maybe we'd be a little further along, because of some of those clients that, by the way, if you're watching this, we have amazing loyal clients that have been with us since the day I started. And I'm so thankful for them because without them early on in our journey, we wouldn't be where we are today. But some of those technologies that we're deploying today to larger style businesses, let's say, they're not taking advantage of that yet for whatever reason, right? They may have like a slower growth rate. Maybe they're just a smaller company that is happy where they are. But I'll tell you, the larger customers that we have, 50, 100 employees, higher than that, they really want to utilize technology to move their business forward. And if you can't find the right partner to do that with you, then you'll probably be left behind your competitors very, very quickly, especially as we move into this new era that I believe that we are entering right now with AI and all these different things that you hear going on in the economy and the marketplace.
You talk about AI. So at the time that we're recording this, the DeepSeek sort of explosion happened earlier this week. And there's still a lot that we don't know. And just to give everybody a summary, DeepSeek is a Chinese AI startup who released a report recently and saying that its AI models are just as good or potentially even better than some of the closed source and open source models that have come out of the US. Back to the interview. But with that said, could you talk to me just a little bit about this sort of rise, the absolute meteoric rise that we're seeing in the use of AI for assistance, for just general being able to search better, to bring it into our systems with Microsoft Copilot? It kind of just is so baked into what we have now. What are your thoughts on it, and what is your guidance for people who are kind of going, well, I'm just an average person, and what do I need to do to protect myself?
It's such an amazing question. I pose a question back to the world, right? How long does it take for somebody to become an expert in something? I don't know the answer to that. Is it a year? Is it 10,000 hours? Is it, 3 months? Because this is all new stuff. I don't know anybody out there can legitimately say that they're an expert in what's going on, except for maybe the people on the back end that are programming what we have going on. So I think it's a super exciting time. I think some of it might, could be just exciting marketing, call it what you will. But hey, this is a real thing that we're entering, right? And there's going to be a major competitive space. It's easy. Again, it's the marketing thing, right? It's my product is better than yours. Just believe what I'm saying, right? That's sort of what they're saying. Now we got to use it. And now I know some people using it and they're saying, no, it's actually incredible. It's pretty great. Right. So how is it going to compete with these things? Copilot, Chat GPT, and so forth. The one leg up, I'll say, and I think Microsoft was very smart in what they did by buying a portion or a share of Open AI, is the fact that you know it's hooked into everything that you're using today, right? So the Microsoft Copilot suite of applications that exist, but it's hooked into everything we're doing, right? So I don't know how these other tools, if Microsoft's going to say, hey, you could just use this other AI tool to help read your emails and process chats and write everything that we're using Copilot for today. So I think Microsoft still wins in this aspect because of They hold predominantly the market share of these applications that we're using every single day in all the businesses that are out there. So I think it's too early to kind of predict some of that. But I'll tell you this, right? Tesla with the robots. You've seen the robot videos of Optimus and how it's learning after making one or two mistakes of something. I watched the robot walk down a hill and it tripped and stumbled the first time. And by the third time it walked down the hill, it was fully trained to walk just like you and I. So, like the progression of what AI is doing in general around all things is like hyper speed, right? So, you're going to have these issues again where technology now is superseding what people and how people can keep up with it, right? And this is why they're saying if you're not using it today, you are already behind. So I think there's a cool stat about 87. Microsoft put this out: 87% of businesses that are not using AI. This was a last year stat. So like last October, September, October, you will be left behind in 2025. So encouraging everybody here watching today, reach out to your IT provider, get some help using AI, understand what some of those data strategies are and how you can really protect the information that you've been building in your business for heck us 20 years. So right, so it's that for kind of all companies is my recommendation is get a handle on your data strategy and how AI is going to, you know, continue to move your business forward.
It definitely feels like one of those things where I know it can be intimidating, but you're almost, as a business owner in the world, forced to figure out how it can be useful in your business. Because, like you said, if you don't, you will be left behind. So, this is really encouraging people, like, of course, continue to ask questions and to learn from people who know more about it than you do and to be safe and err on the side of caution. But you gotta figure it out somehow. You have to make an argument for why it doesn't work in your business, because either way, if you don't, you will be left behind.
Yeah, well said. Figure it out. You
Yeah.
know, there are people out there like us. There are many companies out there. There is wonderful companies out there that want to help you continue to move your AI strategy forward. And it's maybe not as expensive as you might think
Mhm.
to get some help here in this category.
You mentioned Ingram Micro. In December of 2024, Ingram Micro announced that in January 2025, they won't be doing business any longer with Broadcom. They'll be doing very limited business when it comes to licensing and product providing with VMware. And as we all know, the Broadcom acquisition of VMware sort of is the story that just keeps developing as we go along. Some good things, some bad things, depending on who you are and who you're talking to. What do you think about that? Because Ingram Micro, the second largest IT distributor in the world, right? So, what implications do you think that's going to lead to, and do you think that that's going to be a good thing, or who might be impacted by that?
Just substitute us with any MSP, any VAR out there, right? Which is a lot of companies, a lot of people. Broadcom and VMware, man, they ruined our lives for months. And we figured it out. It's all good. We're resilient. We found other ways, but we have a lot of VMware customers. Thankfully, like there wasn't as a lot of problems from a support point of view, but as a provider of supporting services for our clients that have VMware in their environment, it was completely nerve-wracking to know that we did not have the support, that we were not able to make phone calls, that we could not get license renewals. I'd like to speak for every IT professional that exists in this world. We're mad at you, Broadcom. We're mad at you, VMware. You should not have done this. This is crazy that this is how the transition and the merger, the acquisition, whatever that is, like it was not a good transition. So I don't blame Ingram Micro for pulling out of that partnership. I think a lot of IT providers now have pulled out from that partnership. It becomes a place that becomes a non-trustworthy place for me to do business in now. I'll comment on the Ingram side now. I think Ingram is making a huge push for Microsoft and, of course, Amazon. Amazon is what we heard all Q4,
Mm.
AWS, AWS, AWS. So I believe that their eggs are in that basket now. But the big announcement, I think, last year, towards the end of last year in Q4, was, hey, we're going to be investing in Amazon, and if you think Amazon can work for your MSP, MSSP, VAR, whatever you label yourself, let's go ahead and build a really tight partnership there with Ingram and those experts on that side. So there's a lot of opportunity. So while we're not a crazy Amazon shop, we are more we sell more of Microsoft services. However, we do have some Amazon clients, but the partnership is. I think Ingram has supported all its partners in everything that they've done. It's one of the main foundations of our business on why we choose them. Um, they've never let us down.
And with that said, just kind of going on the same vein of talking about distributors or vendors that are really supporting you, are there any others, including Ingram Micro, that you would speak to as far as who's really supporting you this year and just being an awesome partner?
Yeah, so we have, I would say our tightest partnerships are with companies like Dell, Fortinet, Trend Micro continues to shine for us in everything that we do. We put on some really amazing events last year. And when I say amazing events, our clients, our prospects, our vendor partners, people from Dell, people from Ingram, and other said companies that I'm mentioning, they came to these events. They supported us at these events. Marketing dollars, right? You could imagine the amount of sponsorship support that we've had from the biggest clients or the biggest, vendors that we're doing business with. So just to kind of highlight a few there, they are really very supportive of everything that we're doing. Adlumin is another one that I want to mention. They're one of our top cybersecurity partners um, where we're basically outsourcing or co-managing our security operations center with them 24/7, 365. All eyes on glass. You want a partner like that can support those style of efforts. So lots of good partnerships to go around, but I have found navigating them through the relationships at Ingram Micro have been so much more valuable for us than going direct or trying to navigate those waters by yourself.
Thinking about that too, we're talking about these big companies. Ingram Micro recently went public, and I know there is something that you're wanting to be held accountable on, as you told me. I know that you want to IPO by 2030 with Nerds That Care, James. Can you talk to me about the journey to get there, and why is that something that's so important to you?
Yeah, it's an awesome question. It's been my dream since I started the company. It's not something that you want to start sharing with your first employee, and as you start to grow, that is our goal. We look to be a public company by the year 2030, and we've got some work to do. As you know, that's only 5 short years away, but the preparation has started now, and there's a big reason for it. Money comes and goes, right? You can make a dollar, you could lose a dollar, or you could make a dollar again. There's something that you can never get back, and that's time. So, what I teach my people here is the most valuable thing that we have as people on this planet, maybe some other planets in the future, I won't go there, right? Is time. Is time. You can't get time back. Once time is gone, that's it. So, what's the finish line look like for people that work a job, right? So, we say here, this isn't a job, this is a career, this is a journey, this is a bigger picture journey goal that we are on together because I firmly believe that everybody that works here at this current moment will gain shares of our company. And those shares, I hope that this helps my people, our people here, reach some of their goals and their dreams a little bit faster than they would be able to do if they were working for somebody else. And listen, we're going to make some mistakes. We're going to need a really strong team. We're already starting to put together that team because guess who's never taken a company public before? And I'm okay to admit it right here. So if you've never done something before, well, what makes you think that you can do it by yourself? You can't, right? So it's all about the team we put together. It's all about giving back. It's all about, the greater good of our company because it's not just about me.
as we kind of start to wrap up here and look towards the end of this interview, one of my favorite things to do is ask about success stories with clients because we often in this space, in my opinion, forget that at the end of the day, the customer is the one that's benefiting the most from the outcomes that managed service providers and everybody in the channel provides. So I'd love to hear a story that you love to hang your hat on when it comes to saying, here's the success that we provide to our customers. And like you said, I know some of them have been around since day one for you.
One story really resonates with me. There's a law firm that's been our customer for quite some time. I think when they first started out as a client of ours, there were about 7 people. Fast forward a few years, and they came to me and they said, "Hey, I know you have a bit of a cybersecurity background, and we want to try to position our firm to do work with banks. And we're looking to be the number one title closer for real estate transactions in the New York City and Long Island area. In order for us to do this, though, we have to get these things done." It goes back to our compliance conversation a little while ago, but this came early on in our career here, like 2010, 2011. And I had the skill sets to write what we call information security plans, information security policies. They have a few names now. People refer to them as WISPs. So I've been writing WISPs since 2008, 2009, let's say. So what we had to do is we positioned this firm with all of the cybersecurity controls, all of the compliance controls that they needed to put in place. And then they were audited by Ernst & Young and Price Waterhouse, mainly from, let's say, JP Morgan Chase. Hopefully I can throw some of these names around. And they passed with flying colors. And I remember it was like a week-long audit where I had to sit at this, conference room table that felt like it was a mile long. And I'm sitting at this table with all these amazing, smart, analysts, compliance officers, you name it. And we went through the process, and I think there was like only a couple things that we had to like adjust. But at the end of the day, I remember they said to us, "We've never seen a small business so put together, so tight, have the security posture that we're seeing now." And I remember the partners calling me later on, whatever it was, a month later, we did it. We're on the list. We're on the Chase list. We're going to be the main, closers for Chase amongst, and then that of course ballooned out into Bank of America and TD and Citi and right and everybody else. They are, 80 employees now. They are a thriving law firm. They are just a wonderful client, and I've made friends there, and it's really great. So I've developed relationships there with people now that I trust, with my personal stuff, with personal conversations, with business conversations, just all because you do the right thing and you care about what their goals are. The thank you is good. I'm sure we invoiced them for something, but we love the thank yous.
If anybody else out there wants to benefit similar to that law firm and get in touch with Nerds That Care, where can they go to learn more about you?
Well, of course, they can go to our.com, nerdsthatcare.com. But yeah, you can go on our website. There's a lot of contact information there. Give us a call, shoot us an email, check out our website. We're here to help you, and even questions. So you're unsure about something, unsure if we could be a good fit, unsure about what you have going on now. We're here to just talk. So we don't charge you for a phone call. Reach out to a nerd today, right? So just go to Nerds That Care and check us out.
Nerds are standing by waiting for you to answer all your questions.
Sure. Exactly right.
Oh my gosh. Thanks so much to James for joining me today, and thank you as always for watching or listening. You can check out every episode of Channel Insider Partner POV on channelinsider.com. You can also listen to us as a podcast wherever you get your podcast from. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow wherever possible so you never miss an episode. You can find us on LinkedIn or X at Channel Insider, or me at Katie Bavoso. Once again, I'm your host, Katie Bavoso, and I'll see you next time.